Hello everyone, welcome to Shadow Prince Gamer. So this is a video I've been wanting to do for a while now, and I'm finally now finding the time to do it. Do you guys remember like back then where you could go to like your local GameStop and you could buy a game and it had like the accompanying strategy guide to go with it? Now these days you hardly see strategy guides at all with any games. But of course now with the internet, we could go to like GameFAQs, we go to YouTube, and we could just like Google a quick search on help on the video game. But back then, when we didn't really have access to the internet, all we was able to rely on was a strategy guide. So like I happened to went through some of my collection and found some of the strategy guides that I used to have as a kid, from when I used to be playing games back when I was a little kid to when I'm an adult. So I want to share some of the guides that I've accumulated over the years with you guys, since we don't have strategy guides anymore in the year 2025. So check it out. This is some of the guides that I grew up with that I accumulated over the years. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the first strategy guide that I accumulated over the years, and I had this strategy guide when this game released out in 1997. So it may look a little damaged, it may be a little torn, but the first guide that I think I actually ever had was the Final Fantasy VII strategy guide. As you see, I've had this guide for a long time. I mean, look, the cover's nearly off to the guide, and the back side of it is torn off as well. But yes, this is Final Fantasy VII back then, and oh man, like I remember playing this game when I was a kid, and like I tell you, this was peak RPG right here. Even though before this game came out, I was already playing RPGs from like Dragon Quest to Final Fantasy 3 at the time, which, as we all know, is Final Fantasy 6. But like Final Fantasy 7, this is actually the very first strategy guide I ever bought, and it shows, as you see. But yes, this was Final Fantasy 7. Uh, like I tell you, I still have it in good condition, and like I tell you, I've had it all these years. But yeah, Final Fantasy 7. This is the back of the guide right there, the front of it, as you see. And like I tell you, this guy, oh man, just looking at this guy right now just takes me back. Like like coming out. Look at this. Biography of Cloud Strife. So yep, this is Final Fantasy 7 right here. And like I tell you, this is probably the guide I've had the longest. But hey, I'm gonna still keep it, since like I tell you, we don't really have strategy guides as much anymore. So so let's move on to the next strategy guide and see what I have else for you. Okay, so the next strategy guide I have is actually very expensive now these days, especially along with the game that goes with it too. It's very expensive. And like from the last Final Fantasy VII guide that I showed you, I loved RPGs a lot. So hence the next strategy guide will be the Suikoden 2 strategy guide. Now, this guide is very hard to find, and believe it or not, my guide is actually still in very good mint condition. It's not torn like the Final Fantasy VII guide was. As you see, the guide is still in mint condition, and like I tell you, the guide is very good condition. When I look at it, oh wow, I see my name in it and everything. But yes, Suikoden 2. I'm not sure how much this guide goes for, but like I tell you, I know it's very expensive on eBay, especially if you're trying to get the Suikoden 2 guide along with the game to go with it. Even though, of course, now you can play the Suikoden HD remaster that has Suikoden 1 and 2 on there. So like I tell you, even if I need the strategy guide, hey, I could just go back to my Suikoden 2 guide if I want to, for when I play Suikoden 2. But yep, this is Suikoden 2 strategy guide. I mean, of course, there was a little bit of errors in here too, but hey, very minor though. But hey, this is the times that we have. But yep, this is the Suikoden 2 strategy guide right here. So let's go. I'm going to show you the next one. Okay, so keeping up the hype of the RPG train, the next strategy guide I have is the Final Fantasy Anthology Guide. This was the guide that had Final Fantasy 5 and 6 in it, you know, and like I tell you, it's a little torn and ripped. Like I tell you, I've had this guide for a long time. As you see, it's a little ripped, but hey, I still have it in somewhat mint condition. I mean, hey, the cover looks terrible, but when you still open it up, you know, everything is still there. So if anyone wanted to like read the guide, it's all there. You know, as you see, a little bit of it from the Magic Tech Research Facility from Final Fantasy VI. So yeah, this is Final Fantasy Anthology. You know, like I say, I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I mostly had bought all the guides that came with it, even though some I may not have anymore over the years, but I kept the ones that I really did like. Final Fantasy Anthology, everyone. Okay, so the next guide I have is actually a 2-in-1. So we got 2 games in one. And this would be the Final Fantasy Chronicles along with Chrono Trigger. So, you know, this released on the PlayStation 1 as well. So it had Final Fantasy 4 guide on this side, and then when you flipped it the other way, it had the Chrono Trigger strategy guide. As you see, right here, we got excerpts from the guide from like Chrono Trigger, and then when you flip it this way, it was the Final Fantasy 4 guide, which had stuff from Final Fantasy 4, as you see right here. Oops, sorry, the cover was coming off a little bit. From Final Fantasy 4. So yes, this was the Final Fantasy Chronicles strategy guide, along with Chrono Trigger. So, as you see, I played a lot of RPGs when I was a kid. So, my childhood has been always mainly a lot of stuff from Square Enix, well, Squaresoft at the time. As you see, as the guide says, Squaresoft. That's before they merged with Square Enix, you know. But like I tell you, I love playing a lot of Squaresoft RPGs, from Secret of Mana to Final Fantasy, you name it. So yeah, Final Fantasy Chronicles. Like I tell you, the cover is off, it's torn, but hey, the book is still in good mint condition. And like I tell you, I've had it all these years. So yep, Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 4 strategy guide in one. Okay, so here's the next strategy guide. I know you guys are gonna be like saying, man, this guy loves talking about Final Fantasy. Well, hey, that just happens to be our next guide as well. The Final Fantasy Origin strategy guide that had Final Fantasy 1 and 2 in it. You know, of course, you know, these games came out for the PlayStation 1, and of course, anything Final Fantasy, I had to buy the strategy guide to go with it. So as you see, this is the Final Fantasy Origin strategy guide, and I still have it in very good mint condition. You know, the book isn't torn. I mean, there's a little tear right here on the side of it, right here. But other than that, the book is still in good mint condition. Final Fantasy Origins, here's the front of it. Here's a little bit of the back of it that shows Final Fantasy 1 and 2 in it. And as you see in the front, they got Fionnualo's picture from Final Fantasy 2. So, yep, this is the Final Fantasy Origin Strategy Guide right here. And let's move on to the next guide. Okay, so our next guide, like I tell you, is a series I love a lot. And hey, for once, it's not Final Fantasy, but it has been a game that I've already talked about in this video. As you know, you've seen Final Fantasy, you've seen Chrono Trigger, and this guide right here is the Suikoden 5 guide. Now, this is out of print, very hard to find. And I guess that's why the reason why I kept it, you know, because like I love Suikoden. Like I used to have the Suikoden 3 and 4 guides. Unfortunately, I don't have those guides anymore. I actually don't know what happened to them, but I used to have them, you know. But yes, this is the Suikoden 5 guide. And this guide is actually pretty expensive, as well as the Suikoden 5 game on PS2, which of course, you know, I still own the game as well. So, but yeah, this is the guide. Suikoden 5. As you see, here's the back of it. Show a little bit of that. And the front of it. Look at that gorgeous artwork. So yeah, this is the Suikoden 5 strategy guide. Let's move on to the next one. Well, here we go again with another Final Fantasy strategy guide. So this one was actually for the PSP. You know, I really love this game, playing it on the PSP, and this would be the Final Fantasy Dissidia Duodecim guide. As you see, it's the artwork of it, and if you look in the back, you see Lightning, Yuna, Tifa, Laguna, and Vaughn from Final Fantasy 12, and oh yeah, Dragoon Kane is also on the back of it too from Final Fantasy 4. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about this game, but yeah, this is the Dissidia Duodecim on the PSP. You know, even the PSP games receive strategy guides. You know, like I say, anyone who had the time to enjoy a strategy guide with their game, this is a good time. Like I say, we didn't even have to look on the internet. We just had the strategy guide. But yep, Final Fantasy Duodecim. Let's move on to the next guide. Okay, so let's move on from the RPGs for a little bit. You know, I'm going to give you guys a break from RPGs. And as we all know, everyone knows I love Castlevania. Like, I just cannot do a video without talking about Castlevania. Because, like I tell you, that's a franchise that I hold very dearly to me. So this next game guide I'm going to discuss will be the Castlevania Lord of Shadows. And this was the game on the PS3. And I still have this book in very good condition. Of course, like, you know, Castlevania, I love it, so it has to be in good condition. You know, the spine is good, everything's good from the inside of the pages, as you see. But yeah, Castlevania Lord of the Shadows, which I'm actually, this next guy I'm going to show you, I'm going to do in this same part of the video as well. So this next guide will be Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. Now this book, I actually did not buy this book. A friend actually gifted this book to me a long time ago. You know, since I'm a huge Castlevania fan, a friend gave me this book from their collection, and I've had this book for who knows how long, a long time, as you see. And the book is still in good condition. Book is still in good condition from the inside, and you see, of course, the gorgeous artwork of Shanoa and Albus from Order of Ecclesia. And as you see, the back of the book right here as well. So yep, here we go, Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, as well as Castlevania Lord of Shadows. So let's move on to the next strategy guide. Hello everyone, I'm going to do a slight intermission. So I know this video is a little long, but hey, if you're enjoying it so far, hey, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a comment. Tell me, do you still own strategy guides from your past? If so, do you have any other guides that I am showing you in this video? If not, like I tell you, give me a like, sub me. I finally hit 150 subscribers today, so I'm actually kind of happy about that. That's what made me want to do this video today. You know, I was actually motivated. So if you're enjoying the video, like I tell you, hit that like, hit that sub, and I really put out more videos. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff in my mind that I want to bring out and show you guys. So let's move on to the next guide. Okay, so these next two guides, I'm going to do them together as they're from the same franchise. And as you guessed it, it's another Final Fantasy franchise. As you know, I have a lot of Final Fantasies. So the first one will be Final Fantasy 13. The first Final Fantasy 13 the first Final Fantasy on the PlayStation 3. It wasn't the best, but you know, I played it. Even though I wasn't a fan of Lightning's character as much, I still enjoyed the game regardless. If the game wasn't all that good. But hey, here's the guy with it. Boom. But this next guide I'm going to talk about, which I enjoyed this one, Final Fantasy 13 2. So I enjoyed this game. I actually like Lightning a little bit more in this game, even though the main game was more about Lightning's sister Sarah and her friend Noelle as they were traveling through time, which kind of reminded me a lot of Chrono Trigger. You know, this game had a lot of Chrono Trigger type stuff because we traveled through time in it. But yeah, Final Fantasy 13, I would have showed you Final Fantasy Lightning Return, but I actually don't have that guide anymore. I don't know what happened to that one, you know, over the years. But I used to have that guide with it, or so they had the whole trilogy of this game series. But yep, Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 13 2. So yep. Okay, so this next guide that I'm going to show you, as you see the shirt that I'm wearing, if you haven't noticed, this is a Bayonetta shirt. I'm a huge Bayonetta fan, so whenever she had a guide, I would get it. I would get the guides, and of course, you know, I'm talking about the Bayonetta 2 strategy guide, which this one came out on the Wii U at the time. You know, of course, you know, it's out on the Switch now. But at this time, this is when Bayonetta was out on the Wii U, and I bought the guide. And because I love this game so much, I even bought the Japanese guides as well, which was the Climax Bibles of Bayonetta 1 Climax Bible, the Bayonetta 2 Climax Bible. So these was all Japanese strategy guides that came out in Japan. I mean, it's funny, you see their guides are like very small, but you see everything's in Japanese if you can tell. But yes, these was the strategy guides that came out in Japan for Bayonetta. So yep, Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2 strategy guides. And also, even though this technically wasn't a strategy guide, I wanted to show you guys the Bayonetta, the Eyes of Bayonetta book. It's not a strategy guide, but hey, it's an art book, and I just wanted to toss this in the video too, because I'm thinking like, hey, I'm talking about Bayonetta. I may not have a chance to talk about this book ever, you know. But yep, this is the Bayonetta art book that shows like some of her designs or concept designs of how she was supposed to look in her previous sketches by Hideki Kamiya, you know, a bunch of different sketches. But yeah, this was the Eyes of Bayonetta. Like I said, it wasn't a strategy guide, but hey, I didn't think I'd have a chance to talk about this, and I wanted to just throw it in this video. But yep, as you see, the Bayonetta 2 guide, and I wanted to show this part. I meant to show it when I first showed it. My favorite character, John, on the back. Favorite character from the series. Too bad, unfortunately, I have not bought the Eyes of Bayonetta 3 strategy guide. I think they actually made one in Japan, but if I do have to get the guide, I'll make a video about that one as well. I think they made one, seeing as these other strategy guides, they made these, I mean, some years back. You know, I think these was for the Switch version, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure. But yes, I think they made the Eyes of Bayonetta Climax Bible. No, these, I'm sorry, this is for the Wii U version. Wii U version of the game. So yeah, they made these during the Wii U version in Japan. But yeah, if I do find the Bayonetta 3 one, I would make a video regarding it. And let's move on to the next guide. Okay, so the next guy I'm going to show, like I said, this one is an RPG, but it was based off of an action-adventure RPG, and this one would be the Hyrule Warriors strategy guide. Yes, even the Musou hack-and-slash game that basically gives a lot of tips regarding the game and the adventure mode. You know, this is the Hyrule Warriors strategy guide. You know, you see you got Link on the front of it. Zelda on the back of it. And this was actually the collector's edition version of this guide. You know, usually you see these hardcover books. These was the collector's editions that actually cost a little bit more. I think this was like 40 bucks at the time when I bought this. But like I tell you, you know, it's still in good condition. You know, everything is still in there. As you see, that's Impa's profile when she was in the game. Not to mention she was a beast in this game. But yes, this is the Hyrule Warrior strategy guide right here. So this next guide, I don't know why I bought it, but hey, since I had the other previous games guides already, I was like, hey, might as well buy it too. Now this is a very modern guide, which this game was of course on PlayStation 4, and this one would be the Final Fantasy Dissidia NT guide. Even though, believe it or not, this guide is actually kind of useless, and it doesn't really say anything of importance to the game aside from showing the characters' moves and costumes and like biography of the characters, which this wasn't a very good guide. Like, let me see if I can show you. Let's see. Like I tell you, the guide wasn't very good. As you see right here, it's showing Cloud. It's showing like all his costumes, a little bit of his biography, or like how you would use Cloud in battle, and like his different weapons. But like really, other than that, this guide was kind of completely useless. You know, as it didn't really show nothing that we didn't already know aside from like all of his moves. As you see, show y'all his moves right here. It's like that. But hey, like I tell you, it was a Final Fantasy guide. I bought it anyway. And of course, as you see, this was the collector's edition. As you see right here, collector's edition guide. So it probably cost like 40 bucks for all I know. But yep, Final Fantasy Dissidia NT. I'm not gonna talk too much about this one. Okay, so I'm almost done. You know, I got like maybe 4 more guides left to discuss. You know, I don't want to make this video too long, but of course, the next guide I have is the Final Fantasy 15 guide. Now, this was a very good guide, actually, better than the Final Fantasy Dissidia NT guide, because of course it gave you extensive walkthroughs of the game, you know, character biographies, enemy bestiaries. You know, to show you a picture. This is my favorite character in the game, Gladiolus. You know, this is the Final Fantasy 15, of course, collector's edition guide. If you see it right there, and like I said, I think this one cost me about 40 bucks as well at the time when GameStop was selling strategy guides. So I don't know, I don't remember when this game came out, but yeah, I think this. I wouldn't say this was the last game guide I bought. But yes, Final Fantasy 15. Okay, so the next guide I'm going to discuss is another Konami series that I really love. As you all know, I love mostly all the series that Konami ever made. But this game, I wouldn't say it was my favorite in the series, but I still enjoyed the playthrough of it. And this was the Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. As you see, it has Snake on the front of it. And of course, it has the 5 logo on the back. And of course, as you know, this is the collector's edition version of it as well. I don't know if you see it right there, collector's edition. So yeah, this was the Metal Gear Solid 5. Well, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain strategy guide. Let me see if I can show you some of that on the inside as well. Oh yeah, actually it came with a huge map of the whole area from Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. You know, I suppose I still have this map to go with it. This is a huge map. I'm not gonna unfold the whole thing, but yeah, this was the map that came with this guide. I'm gonna put that back in there. And of course, you know, like I tell you, gives you the hints and tips on the missions of it. So I thought I'd show you some of that as well in it. But yep, this is the Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain strategy guide. I think this one cost me about 40 bucks too when this guide came out. Okay, so I wasn't gonna throw this guide in this video, but I'm like, hey, I might as well put it in there anyway. So this is the collector's edition of Breath of the Wild. You know, I don't really have much I want to talk about this game, as this wasn't really my favorite Zelda game to play because it was like too much open world, and I'm not a huge fan of open world games that much these days because like it's just too oversaturated. But yeah, this was the Zelda Breath of the Wild complete collector's edition guide. Yeah, um, it basically gave you like all the hints and puzzles to like all the different shrines. But like I'm not gonna discuss this one too much. Everyone knows about Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is that guide, and we're gonna move on quickly to the next one. Okay, so this is the final guide I want to talk about in this video that I own. This one, I mean, of course, everyone would know this one. This is the Mario Odyssey guide. You know, of course, you know, this is the collect. I think they only had the collector's edition for all I know. But yeah, this is the collector's edition guide of Mario Odyssey. As you see, there's some inside footage of the guide right there. You know, discussing the missions, and like I tell you, Mario Odyssey. I haven't beat this game yet completely. I'm like almost done with it, but yeah, this is the Mario Odyssey strategy guide. Just wanted to show you, you know, just some guides that I have, since we don't really have games that have video game guides anymore. Like I tell you, now everyone just go on GameFAQs and YouTube, or you just do a quick Google search for like certain games that you need a hint on. And like I tell you, I kind of miss the strategy guides, like, you know, being able to have the game and look at the guide and, like, you know, really just show support for, like, you know, the companies that make these guides. Most of these guides were made by Brady Games at the time, you know, and Prima Games for some of them. But yeah, you know, I just wanted to talk about strategy guides and like how we really just don't have them no more. And you know, I kind of miss the days where you can go to your local video game store, or like, you know, your GameStop, and buy Pokemon Sun and say like, hey, can I get the strategy guide to go with that? You know, which I used to have Pokemon guides for Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, you know, X and Y. You know, I used to buy a lot of guides. But like I kind of really do miss the luxury of buying guides with the game as well. So, but yeah, you know, that's all I wanted to show you and discuss some strategy guides that I had. Like I tell you, if you have any guides, leave a comment. Let me know what guides you have. Do you have any of the guides that I showed in this video? Leave a comment, like I tell you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Shadow Prince Gamer out. Oh, so you know what? I actually forgot to show you guys one more guide. I meant to show this one, but I actually forgot to include it in the video. Which this was, as you know, I'm a huge Suikoden fan. So at the time, they didn't have a guide for it, but I had bought this from a long time ago. That this strategy guide that had like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 games, 6 RPG games in one, or 5 of it. I think it was 5. I can't remember, but yeah, this yeah, it was actually 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it had 5 RPG games in one, and mainly I bought this one for the Suikoden. As you know, in that game, that's a game where it has over 108 characters that can join your party, and I had bought this guy so I could make sure I had found all 108 characters. Then of course, you know, it had Final Fantasy 7, which was the highlight of it. But yes, this was the Prima Secret Guide from a long time ago. Now, this is on PlayStation 1. And I remember buying this guide at like a local bookstore. And I found it for, how much was this guide? It's 15 bucks, $14.99. But yes. I also wanted to share this guy with you guys too, since I forgot to include it in the video. But yes, if you like the video, like I tell you, leave me a like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. It really helped my channel grow, and I'll bring out more, retro game videos, modern game videos, and whatever video I think of that I might want to discuss with you guys. On that note, thank you for watching the video. Have a good night. Shadow Prince Gamer is out.